Hey there, motherfuckers. I'm TychoCelchuuu, and this is CoH2 shotcast between Kidrum WWU and Desert Fox Rommel WWU. As you would expect, someone named Desert Fox Rommel is playing as the United States, and Kidrum is playing as the Osthair, and both these players are awesome players. They're pretty much in like the top 50 of the leaderboard for like all the factions or something if you go to CoH2.org and check them out. So this is probably going to be a cool game. It looks like they're both in the same clan, the Western Werewolf University clan. So I'm sure they know each other. They probably sleep together, stuff like that. And so this is going to prove to be a very exciting match. The replay downloaded from CoH2.org, actually CoH2.org, sorry, there's no such thing as CoH2.org, I never said that, erase that from your mind. CoH2.org, your #1 website for CoH2 bullshit on the internet. So we have a machine gun first out from the German player, and then a grenadier squad out. The machine gun has spent most of its time walking, a very arduous journey for that dude who's got to carry the entire fucking thing. I don't think that's how that worked in real life, but it's very effective for a video game because it's got to be able to work with one guy in the squad. So that's how things work. And we have our first engagement. Pioneers with no chance, capturing this point against riflemen with no spunk or moxie. I don't know why these riflemen aren't fucking moving up. Except maybe they're scared of the MG42. Now that they know where the MG42 is, they're still not moving up. These riflemen are just sticks in the mud. They're stuck in the mud as sticks are stuck, etc., etc. Now they're finally moving, but it's only to move backwards. What a bunch of motherfuckers. I don't like these riflemen. These guys are not, they don't got their head in the game. They don't have these riflemen. And now we have a sniper coming out, so we have the classic machine gun. I just heard goose-stepping sausage eaters. Good racism. But the pioneers were building. What are they building? Sandbags. Fun. Yes, they needed infantry that didn't stink. Is that what he said? How does that make sense? Is the idea that pioneers don't smell as bad? They're building stuff. So that's like sweaty work. I'm sure they smell pretty bad. Where's the mortar? United States player gets a mortar out third, so again, very common build order by United States player. The first hit's not bad at all. It gets some damage in on the MG, it looked like, and if not, it at least forced it to move. That's going to be an exciting fight over here on the right, so let's ignore it and look over here on the left where these pioneers are going to do their best. Probably they'll hold out pretty good if this thing keeps suppressing the riflemen. If the riflemen get unsuppressed, Lord knows what's going to happen. I don't think the United States player really cares what happens, because his plan is just to bombard with the mortar, but you gotta remember, these pioneers, they don't do zero damage. They can fire and kill people who are close by, and that's why I was thinking if the riflemen get unsuppressed, they'd be fine, because they could just walk away from the house and stand right here behind this yellow cover, at which point they'll destroy the pioneers, although it would take a while, because they're in that nice cover in the house. But that's not what happened. They were suppressed by the house, the pioneers got the damage in, and so you never want to underestimate the pioneers. What you can underestimate are the rear echelon troops. They're trying to pull off a flank here, but let's be honest with them, the only reason this flank is going to be at all effective is so it can spot for the mortar. Aside from that, they're going to do fuck all to this machine gun, and in fact, it's just set up such that it catches them on the flank, and so it does lose a man. That was the entire point of the United States flank, keep it around long enough to get nailed by the mortar, but I don't think he accomplished quite as much as he wanted. I think the ideal situation would have been rear echelons flank around, and the machine gun can't turn to fight because it's busy trying to fight off some riflemen or something coming from here. But those riflemen just got their shit pushed in by the pioneers, and they weren't able to stay around that fight. That could have been a very different fight if the United States player had managed those riflemen a bit better and didn't have to retreat them out of the fight, especially in the early stages of the match where every unit is so important in a fight. You got to figure out every way of keeping your unit around. And if you think about it, the only threats over here were the pioneers and the machine gun. If you're out of the arc of fire from the machine gun, they can't do any damage, and if you're away from the pioneers, they can't do any damage because they're so short range. And those riflemen, there was that window of opportunity where they could have sort of made it out of the fight but stayed sort of in the area, and then that would have helped the them plus the rear echelon would have been able to lock the machine gun down enough for the mortar to either kill it or push it off. Instead, the machine gun was able to stick around, take up residence in the house. It did get pushed off, though, by the riflemen eventually, so that was good. And whoa, we have a tech up to a lieutenant! This is the first time I've seen this in the history of the entire world of CoH2. A lieutenant rather than a quick tech to a captain. United States player not doing so well on the fuel income. 13 fuel income versus the 26, twice as much for the Germans, so Maybe that was just an attempt to stay in the game. Mortar up to 1 kill, but that does not tell the entire story of the mortar's impact. It's really helped push off this machine gun. How's the sniper doing? Up to 6 kills. That does tell the entire story of the sniper. So I don't have to. That's exciting. And we have a doctrine picked up, so I forgot to look at these things. Heavy Cavalry Company, premium item. Off-map smoke barrage, ready to smoke weed every day. And these riflemen are not going to be happy. Are they going to be able to cap this point? I don't know. The sniper's being pretty cautious. So are the riflemen. So it's a stalemate. It's a Mexican standoff in Germany or France, or whether the fuck this map's supposed to be. Bunker complete. That's probably going to be a healing bunker. Yes, of course. Treat nearby units. Reinforce. I knew you could fucking reinforce by bunkers. If I post my previous match that I recorded, which I think I'll post it. It was with Imperial Dane. It ended early, but I don't know why. I was talking about can bunkers reinforce. Yes, they can reinforce. I was fucking right. So now we have a scout car rush. Pretty common from the Germans. That was a really good initial burst from the scout car. And then the whole machine gun taking out another rifleman. This is going to cost him the squad. He wasn't paying enough attention. Presumably he was microing the M20. So I haven't seen an M20 rush since fucking Lincoln was president. But we do have the armor upgrade. Probably the M20 still going to get owned by the armored car. This is why I think we don't see the M20 mostly. The armored car popular enough that you're just fucking in trouble. But remember, the M20 has the mine. 60 munitions, 60 kills. That might be overstating things a bit, but if that mine hits something, hits the armored car, it's gonna fuck the armored car up real bad. So, oh look, we got M5 mines. So since Desert Fox Rommel has gone this doctrine, he gets the rifleman field defenses, and that's really exciting because you can lay some mines with the riflemen, just like it's the original company heroes. They could do that, right? Or maybe you had to go infantry company. God, it's been too long. Oh, look, more mines. You don't want to run over those though right now because there's riflemen right there. There's so much shit going on, I can't even tell what's happening. Over here, the riflemen are getting owned up by the armored car. Over here, the M20 is being able to push off these guys because it's got the little machine gun upgrade on the top. Over here, we have riflemen sort of behind green cover. It looks like they're probably going to win that fight. Those grenadiers could still potentially win, although now that they pop that one and they get the anti-tank rifle, that's going to do fuck all. Why didn't I realize that? Mostly when you get that one, it just gives you a new ability, and the rifleman ability obviously not going to help in the fight. But now the grenadiers are down to 2, so unless the riflemen get really unlucky, they've won that fight. Over here, rifleman pushed off by the armored car. Lieutenant hasn't played a very big role in the fight yet. This is going to be unfortunate if he sticks around in red cover too long while running through the Pioneers, but then heads to focus on the Pioneers. Nope, decides to focus on the armored car. Excellent dismount. That's the way to... Oh, I forgot about the bazooka. I forgot the bazooka. You never forget the bazooka. Every World War II game, the M20's got a bazooka. How come? Because I guess that happened once in real life. I think it happened more than once in real life. I think maybe they often put bazookas on the M20s, and somehow that got turned into the crew carry the bazooka in this. The thing is, if you play Men of War Assault Squad, the M20 also comes with the bazooka just sort of in its inventory. So never forget the bazooka. I forgot the bazooka, and maybe the German player forgot the bazooka. I just adjusted my chair. You can probably hear that. All these units keep talking. I keep hearing them talk, and I want to listen to them talk, but I want to talk. I'm the talker. Where's the M5 mine? There's the M5 mine. They're still standing around it, though. That could be dangerous. Now they're moving. That's good. Man, there's just been so much fighting. So much fighting. I don't even know who's winning. The German player losing that armored car, that was a pretty tough blow. You could build another armored car. What do you think? If you were the German player, would you build another armored car in this position? You've tacked up to fuck all. You've got your Lichter mechanized company, so you can get your armored car out of there, but not much else. Would you go it again and try and get the M20 this time for realsies, or would you go for something else? The German player's gone for something else. German player decides this is going to be an infantry game. Oh man, those lieutenants. That lieutenant. Man, I don't know why people pop the incendiary round versus infantry. I guess it must do more damage, but it never seems like it's as effective as it would be versus the M20, for instance. I would have, since you know there's an M20 on the field somewhere, namely over here, fucking your shit up, I'd save the incendiary rounds for that, I would have thought. And in fact, if you want to spend munitions on something that'll hurt infantry, you do have your grenadiers who can throw a grenade, a rifle grenade, so I don't know why not do that. I do think it's kind of unfortunate for the Grenadiers that their grenade is a rifle grenade, because they're Grenadiers, they're supposed to be able to throw grenades really well, but they don't get to show that off unless you go like the elite troops doctrine and give them the stun grenades or something, because they just have to fire their rifle grenade, which even an idiot can do that. A 2-year-old could fire a rifle grenade. A 2-year-old probably has fired a rifle grenade. That's probably why the rifle grenade was designed. The Panzerfaust was designed in part so that fucking idiots who were like 10 years old could fire it, because they were out of actual troops. They had like teenagers defending the Fatherland. So it's like, oh, what are we gonna do? Well, we'll give them basically a firecracker and see what they can do. Turns out they can do quite a bit with a firecracker. Kill a lot of people. How's the US mortar doing? 2 kills, but almost up to that 1. Exciting. Experienced crews fire the mortar with less scatter. I'm surprised that 1 doesn't unlock the smoke barrage. That seems like that would make more sense for the way Company Heroes 2 works. So now the M20 basically has free reign. Oh wow, he's gone for the Shreks on the Stormtroopers. I did not expect that. So obviously he has to have some AT solution. This looks like the end for the sniper. One more burst from this 50 cal on top. Stop moving. Stop moving, it'll be more accurate. 1 more bullet would have killed that guy. Oh, and he's dead. So this is looking pretty bad for the German player. Still definitely come back. Oh, and we have a Puma. So this is the other way to come back into the game. Oh, nice Shrek hit. Oh no, that wasn't a Shrek. That was a Faust, of course. So this, of course, is how the German player comes back in. I was wondering exactly what the German player was going to do. Where's the smoke? There's the smoke. I was wondering what the German player was going to do in terms of teching, because the armored car, not the perfect solution to the M20, but better than nothing. Stormtroopers, I guess you can get a Shrek, but that's kind of crazy. But then, of course, the Puma, the other classic austere response to US light vehicles is out, and unlike the response to the Stuart, where you really have to worry about the Puma, maybe potentially at least losing that fight, the M20 doesn't have a fucking chance against the Puma. Is it going to fire across that? Somehow he's got sight? That seemed like a ghost fire, a misfire. That used to be a much bigger problem in either this game or Company Heroes 1. But eventually I think they fixed it, or maybe they never fixed it in Company. No, it was the M36 Jackson, or it wasn't the M10, but it was the special one, the unlockable one they added in fucking when they fucked everything up. It used to always miss. I don't know. This is ancient history at this point. Nobody gives a shit. Some more smoke. This M20 is smoking out of control. It's balling out of control, and it's actually literally out of control because it's dead. That's unfortunate for the United States, but really the timer on the M20 is a very limited sort of thing. Even back in the heyday of the M20, I used to love the M20. I would go the M20 every game. The timer on that thing is really limited. Eventually it just turns into sort of a mind-laying harassing tool, or it dies, because AT is just very effective versus 4. So trying to get an epic flank up with this United States player going all the way around the MG. We don't have grenades yet, so it's going to have to be the bar doing all the damage. That is turning out to be enough, though. Ooh, the MG doing a soft retreat, packing up and trying to move. Turns out to be a huge mistake. I was surprised that it did it, and I was right to be surprised because that was a bad move. Almost loses the MG for that. 2 models left in the squad, but still not in great fighting shape. A lucky burst from the bar would have taken things down. Are we going to see any grenades? No, we've sunk all our munitions into things like LMG upgrades on the Stormtroopers, or on the Grenadiers, so I never got a chance to talk about how weird it was the Panzer Grenadiers got upgraded with the Panzer Shrek. I mean, it does get you AT for the rest of the game, but you cripple their infantry fighting ability. If you build 2 Panzer Shreks on them, which you do now, that's what you get. It's just 60 or 120 munitions for the 2 Panzer Shreks. It's just, that's 2 people who aren't fighting infantry in that squad when it's at full health, and when it goes down to less than full health, you don't have anybody fighting infantry, really, if it's down to 2 men. So this Puma's really lucky that it didn't get killed. How's the captain? Captain could go kill the Puma. Captain should kill the Puma. Oh, but there's pioneers right here. So I'm really surprised that the solution, I guess, for the M20, nice grenade on the mortar. Not going to be a huge deal because that thing can get recruited. It would have been better to take out a squad, but it can be hard to take out a squad. So a nice little blob action going on for the United States player. Suppress that SOB. Blah, blah, blah. It's hard not to blob as the United States sometimes, especially once you start getting bars and stuff on these units. They're just so effective if you go around and right-click with them. Do these guys have a bazooka? Yes. Where'd they get the bazooka? Maybe from the bazooka rack. I don't know what the The infantry-based AT choices for both these players very weird. It's nice to have the infantry AT when you need it, like it can be a pain to get it in the field either with a munitions upgrade or walking back to the base for the United States player. So it's, I mean, I applaud the forward-thinking nature of these sorts of moves, but they're crippling themselves in these fights. Again, I mean, crippling is too strong. The United States player, one bazooka on the Rifleman squad does not cripple it, but given your other choices, like given the Puma for the Germans and given the AT gun, which we have on the field for the United States, it's just a little surprising to see the infantry AT. And also given the important thing to remember is that both Riflemen and Grenadiers have the anti-tank grenade thing. The Riflemen have the literal anti-tank grenade, the Grenadiers have the Panzerfaust. So that's what you can use if you just want to get a little bit of damage and kill the engine and keep it from retreating or finish it off or something. So again, a little surprised at the investment into infantry ATs. Since it's only 9 command points to get it, the German player has managed to make it up to the Panzer IV command tank, and this is going to be, I think, a turning point in this battle if the AT gun isn't able to take it out. But since the United player has had a fairly commanding control of the battlefield, not like perfect control. Notice the German player has been doing a good job keeping the left and the right in contest. The left being decapped right now, the right fuel actually belongs to the Germans already, but the United States player just been doing a bit better in terms of things and has managed to take up to a major and has enough fuel now to get a Sherman. So it's just a question of getting enough manpower to get the Sherman. And once the Sherman comes out, the Panzer IV is going to be outmatched. The bazooka doing some pretty good damage, but that's the Captain bazooka, so I was not wrong about maybe not getting it on the Rifleman. Man, there's too much fighting to watch. Can I was going to pull up the tactical map, but I realized that's probably a bad idea because the little logo down here in the bottom of the screen doesn't look very good on the tactical map, and anyways, it wouldn't help because there's just too much shit to keep track of no matter what. I was watching somebody play, somebody good. Maybe not good, he streams a lot. I think he was good. Maybe it was Lovenest. Lovenest streams, right? Anyways, Lovenest, I think, or whoever it was, some Swedish guy. Or some European guy with blonde hair, so I think they're all Swedes, but they're not all Swedes. Was using the tactical map a lot when he was playing. He was pulling it up and, you know, ordering units around like that. I don't really do that, but I'm terrible at this video game. And this game could go anybody's way at this point. When do we see the Sherman? Oh man, still don't have the manpower. How much manpower does this thing cost? 340. That's not bad. But it's expensive keeping these units alive. So still don't have the Sherman. Panzer IV infantry tank down to half health. I say infantry tank, not command tank, because it's basically, it's got the little stubby gun to fight infantry, and so it's like, in the original Company Heroes, the Panzer Elite had the infantry support tank, which is sort of like a command tank. Both mortars firing away. The United States player at mortar at this point is retreating, but that's kind of unfortunate. You usually want to see the United States player mortar forcing off the German player mortar. Where's the German mortar? Oh, the German doesn't have a mortar. Was I imagining things? I was imagining things. So the United States player mortar was firing and then got pushed off because the German was too aggressive. Whew, I feel like there's too much stuff to keep track of in this game. Now we finally have a quiet moment. But I can't be quiet because I'm the shoutcaster. It wouldn't make sense for me to be quiet. Good skirmishing by both players, trying to capture as much of the map as possible. We have the United States player moving up the side with the rear echelon troops who managed to make it to Vet 1 without killing a goddamn thing, just from taking damage. So not so great that AT gun's getting forced off because the Panzer IV is now repaired and the Puma seemed to be repaired. I like how the Puma's a bit out on the front line. I would like to see more tank usage, vehicle usage, specifically from the German player, where in this very narrow window, it's over now. The window's over because that was a very belated grenade. So, didn't actually go for the Sherman. The United States player elected to go for a tank destroyer, and that means now we had a fairly narrow window. It wasn't even a narrow window. It was a big window. It was a window large enough to fit a dog through, and not like a tiny Chihuahua dog or a toy dog or something, just a real fucking dog. We had a window large enough to fit a dog through that the German player had a Puma and a Panzer IV on the field, and the strongest United States anti-tank was handheld AT and an AT gun that was positioned such that infantry were sometimes able to push it off, and that was really the time for the German player to get stuff done. As I mentioned, that time is over. This is the time we have prepared for because it's the United States player coming in with the Jackson. Unfortunately, I don't think the Jackson was really the choice to make. The paper-thin armor is not going to hold up against this handheld AT that the German has, and also this AT gun. Notice we're already down to half health, which is really unfortunate, and even the Panzer IV can hurt the Jackson. Importantly, the Puma can hurt the Jackson. That's the thing. And the thing is, the Jackson versus just the Puma or just the Panzer IV. It makes a lot of sense because it doesn't even matter if they can do a bit of damage to you. You can still just knock them out with your glass cannon. But once there's more than one source of damage, potential source of damage for your tank destroyer, so the Panzer IV and the Puma plus the miscellaneous stuff, the handheld infantry AT, etc. Once you have more than one source of damage, the Jackson really just can't stick around in the fights long enough, and that's when the weaknesses of the glass cannon become really apparent, because you need to be able to stick around long enough to finish off your opponent. You need to have at least that much staying power. You have it if you're only fighting one thing, like a Puma or a Panzer IV, because the Puma or the Panzer IV can't stick around and shoot at you. Meanwhile, it'll just get blown up faster, because that's the point of a glass cannon. You blow them up before they blow you up. But if there's more than one way of dealing damage to your glass cannon, you're just going to get your glass cannon smashed, and that means the window for this Jackson was effectively closed before it opened. Notice it's trying to come in and do some damage on these, who was the infantry unit? Rear echelon dead. It's trying to come in on this Panzer IV, but it can't even get close, because all there is just a fucking grenadiers with a Faust. I assume it must have been a Faust. Anyways, whatever it was, it did enough damage to the Jackson that it had to pull out and repair itself back up to full health, and it's just not looking great. Maybe it's the Pack 40, I think that's a newly repositioned Pack 40 though. It's just not able to get anything. No, we have new rear echelon troops called in. I don't know what that was for. Maybe to repair the machine gun or the AT gun if it gets hurt. Maybe to sweep for mines. It's tough to tell. So the United States player really valiantly trying this assault, but definitely on the back foot versus this multi-pronged German assault. Very good job from the Germans moving in the Puma over there, the Panzer IV over there, keeping the Pack 40 in the fight, always on the move so that the mortar can't do too much damage. The mortars only have 5 kills, and it's been at 5 kills for a while, and the German player looking pretty good in terms of map control. Doesn't have this leftmost fuel point, but is working on it. So I said the German window was closed when the Jackson came on the field, but then I immediately changed my mind, and so I was wrong. I think the German window would have been closed when the Sherman came on the field, is what I probably should have said. The Sherman, I think, would be doing a much better job than the Jackson at this point. It could be killing more infantry when it makes these failed attempts, and maybe its attempts wouldn't even be failed. Maybe the Sherman could go in and fuck some stuff up and make some progress. At the very least, these Pioneers getting owned up, so that's exciting. But again, notice the Jackson pushed off. All the stuff is over here, so it's expected that the Jackson will get pushed off. Well, all the stuff except the... oh no, even these guys, the fucking Stormtroopers are here. Surprised they're not going in for the Jackson. Now they are? Now they aren't? Now they are? They should really honestly be going for the kill for these things. A couple fucking Shrek shots, that thing's fucking dead, especially when they're Vet 2 and they can hold up to the shots that they're taking. And so that I guess they took a mortar hit just then. This thing up to 6. Maybe it wasn't even a mortar hit. Maybe it was just shots from over out there. So that's really unfortunate. I would have liked to see those Stormtroopers get in there. How's this Rifleman squad gonna do? I think maybe there's a misclick. Maybe they're getting I guess there's an anti-tank grenade and the Puma destroyed engine. Really? No, engine damage. Couldn't read it. Things are loud. Everything's exploding. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. There's too much stuff going on. The United States player in a fairly good position, all things considered. These riflemen are really holding their own against the engineers. The riflemen have the bars, the engineers have the LMG-42s, the riflemen have VET-3, the engineers have VET-3, really great unit preservation from both sides, but I think the United States player is spread out a bit less. The reason the United States player is able to be spread out a bit less, I think, is because they had slightly better map control when things started consolidating. So even when the German players started winning the fights and pushing forward on the map, the split was still sort of where you see it right now, instead of up around the United States player fuel and this VP. Had the German player had slightly better map control, slightly better things like that, I don't think the United States player would be as boldly assaulting sort of In these coherent kind of clustered up assaults, the United States player would have to spread out and try and cap some stuff, but since the United States player can focus almost entirely on attacking, and the German player has to also focus on capping, we got some Austruppen over here, we had a lone infantry squad over here, the United States player able to make these attacks a little bit more effective, except for right now when this lieutenant got set in on his own, and German player had a bit too long to, I think, lick their wounds. I'm not sure what the United States player was waiting for, but this was a good AT gun reposition, probably. It might take the German a little while to realize that the center is effectively open, and they can push in with those vehicles. Where's the Puma? The Puma's still getting repaired, actually, and now the Panzer IV needs some repair too, but the German could make a real move down through the center and own things up. But again, excellent pressure by the United States player, this time spreading out and capping, just trying to keep the map in a place where the German always going to have to be slightly reacting, never able to fully attack even when the German player pushes forward. Always going to have to spend some time capping those points. Nice grenade going in, getting some damage in on these guys. This infantry support tank, really important to be in this fight, but it just took a huge hit from, must have been the M10 at a really long range. So excellent play by the United States player, knowing exactly where to hit and what to hit with, and has enough infantry in the game, has enough anti-tank in the game that there's always something to take on whatever is coming, although these riflemen need some help. Can they get help? Nope, that's rear echelon over there. But the United States player sticks around as long as possible to cap that VP and to hold off the Germans. Let's take a moment. Let's do the thing. I was watching Imperial Dane on YouTube the other day, and he does a mid-game analysis. So here's the mid-game analysis. I have an erection. And continuing forward, we have a Pershing heavy tank called in. You can be sure the United States player was just waiting until he got the 16 CPs or whatever it costs to get a Pershing in, because now the German player is worried. I would be worried. Yeah, fucking Austruppen. What are the Austruppen gonna do versus the Pershing? Nothing. So now, luckily the German player has not lost either two vehicles. Unluckily, those two vehicles, at the best of times, not so effective versus the M10, unless they're used in conjunction. Now that there's a Pershing, things look really bad. German player spreading out's not going to work, because any sort of individual thing the Pershing hits, the Pershing's going to be able to take out. So now the German is pretty much forced to assault or defend in a big clump. That's the only chance he's got against this Pershing. Nice couple of Shrek hits. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. So that's maybe the beginning of the German clawing their way back into this fight. Not into the game. The German's totally in the game, but the Pershing is going to be a big deal. So the German, I think, is really going to have to clump up to take this Pershing. It's going to turn into a sort of a fight around the Pershing, and the United States player can exploit this by sort of grabbing as much of the map as possible, and also by bringing the other thing into that fight with the Pershing, especially the M36. The M36, oh god, don't get it killed by the AT gun though. The M36 sort of thing that is going to be most effective in a large fight, specifically a fight centered around the Pershing, because that way things are less likely to be able to shoot it. And if things do shoot it, it'll be able to sort of just retreat out of the fight and nothing notices. So that's exactly what happened here. It came into the fight, Pack 40 nailed it, it left, nobody noticed. If it was over here sort of on its own trying to hold off some sort of flanking Puma or something, chances are it could get hunted down when it goes low. We have a, what is that? Is that a marked target? Did the United States player get a marked target? I don't know what the fuck that airplane was. What was the airplane? Tell me what... I don't know how this video game works. Why am I shoutcasting? I'm incompetent. What was the airplane? God damn. Is that what happens when you press it? Clearly not, because the button's not on cooldown. I don't know what the fuck is happening. I don't know why these riflemen are going in on their own. Where's the Pershing? Oh, I guess it's getting repaired from the Shreks. But look, the United States player, oh god, all your infantry, you're losing a bar even. Oh god, you don't want to give the bar to the, oh god, they're picking it up. This is how you lose. You go in without your combined arms. You've literally got a combined arms button on your UI telling you that combined arms is the way to go, but instead you're sending your infantry into the meat grinder. Into the meat grinder, just giving some vet to the opponent, losing your precious manpower. Now here we go, we have a combined arms assault going on. I'd like to see maybe the Pershing in the role that this Jackson's playing, because the Pershing would probably not getting its face owned by the Pack 40. But oh, here's some green smoke. Green smoke for the real smoke. I like how it's green, because that suggests marijuana, suggests weed, smoke weed every day, and then there's a cloud of smoke. So that's good. That's great. Look at this. Slightly less impressive than what's been going on so far. But let's be fair. I do this all the time. I do this more often than these players do. Remember, they're both basically like best players ever, top 50 every faction. One of them actually wasn't ranked on the leaderboard because he hasn't played enough games lately, but his win-loss ratio was clearly very good. And the other player, top 50, more or less, with everything. So, now the United States player doing combined arms? I don't know, things still need repairs, infantry under attack. These guys getting owned by that machine gun. That's a really effective machine gun. I would like to see the United States player mortar tasked with taking that thing out, although it's doing not a bad job in the middle, up to 9 kills in Vet 3. Was Vet 3 max range? Right, yeah, max range you kind of don't even have to reposition it. It can just shoot anything on the map from anywhere on the map is the impression I get. And, oh no, the Shreks. Those Shreks are really effective versus the Pershing, so kind of bought them kind of early, but now that they're in the match, things are going, and I just have no idea who's going to win. The Pershing I thought was going to be such a huge game changer, but the United States player seems really anemic, just not willing to commit to any huge full frontal assault, just poking and prodding, and by doing that he's giving the opponent the chance to just chip away at the Pershing enough that it needs to get repaired. These Jesus, look at the damage. If he can kill the Stormtrooper squad, that would be so excellent. That would because that's been the biggest thorn in the Pershing side. But honestly, you don't need to kill the Stormtrooper squad in an isolated incident. You can just move in and right-click them with your 3 squads of riflemen with bars and your lieutenant bars, because that's 4 Vet 3 squads. If they right-click the Stormtroopers, I don't care if the Stormtroopers are Vet 3 and they're near the command tank, they're gonna fucking die. So that's, I keep saying this, and again, I'm not as good as half of one of these players, let alone one of these players, let alone both players put together, but I really would like to see the United States player doing a bit more combined arms, because that would eliminate the biggest thorn in the Pershing side if he just has his riflemen right-click the Stormtroopers, and then, hey, who knows what happens. Maybe your riflemen able to break through and flank the Pack 40, which leaves effectively 0 AT on the part of the Officer. They have the Puma, which can still do damage, and the Panzer IV, which can do a bit of damage, but honestly, versus the Pershing, fuck that, and versus an M36, that probably be going down anyways, so, basically what I'm saying is select all your units and right-click the enemy, United States player. As for the German player, this is just a fucking frantic game the German player's been doing. He's sort of been bringing his units up to the front to try and hold off each individual assault from the United States player, but again, because of the way the United States player is doing these assaults, it's been working. Not totally well for the Germans, but it's been working enough that he's still in the game. He's got the 2 victory points. The bleed is going in the direction of the United States player, 289 versus 174 for the Germans, so nobody's in dire VPs yet. Pershing says fuck this tree and then starts backing towards the enemy. Both tactics which I've employed often, but which I would suggest not employing if you have the chance to do so. This Panzer IV panics because Lord knows why. There's nothing here that could have damaged its engine. I thought for a second these were riflemen, and it was afraid for a rifle grenade that was going to damage the engine and leave it stranded. But the only thing it had to worry about was the Pershing, which was coming from the other direction. But, better safe than sorry is what wimps always say. And oh no, we've got mustard gas. That's a war crime. It's this fucking, oh, you know what the airplane is? It's the Major doing the recon flight. I feel better about myself now. Let's all hold hands and sing. The Major's calling the plane. Kumbaya. The Major's calling the plane. Kumbaya. Tycho's not going crazy. Kumbaya. The ship has sailed on that long ago. So, still no mortar on the German player. I guess the idea would be the American mortar will just destroy me. It's not worth even trying. Also never ticked up to the mortar tier. Just now noticing that, because we never had a sniper out. Cool. And the machine gun is here. Was the machine gun always here? Where'd the grenadiers come from? Must have teched up to the mortar tier because the grenadiers came from there. Oh, it's built out here. I'm an idiot. Why does anybody watch any of my videos? Can somebody post in the comments why you watch my videos? Why does anybody do this? So now it looks like the United States player is sort of listening to me, right-clicking 60% of his forces and attack moving into the enemy territory, and it's working out pretty well. The German player used to have this side of the map. The German player no longer has this side of the map. The United States player getting some good infantry kills on these people who stole that fucking bar, and looks like the United States player might even get this VP. And is at least getting this VP. Permanent sprint on these. Captain, by the way, that is Vet 3. If you go over here, fitness training allows the. I don't think it's fitness training that gets you Vet 3, because you get Vet 3 at some point after coming onto the map, and I don't think anybody's doing fucking push-ups once they're in the war zone. But I don't write these things. Relic writes these things, so Relic's in charge. Hey, he used the counterattack tactics to try and take this stuff away, and it worked. It worked! It's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle. Jesus is here to capture things for the German player. Here's the Pershing assault, but not with the fucking not with the fucking riflemen. And we do have good damage on the Pershing. Not even with the M36. It's just gonna keep getting shelled by the AT gun until it backs up. So again, waiting for that blessed time when the attack move will come. Look at these spread out stormtroopers. This is very effective tactics from the Germans because these people over here don't really know who they're fighting unless they can see the camo, because the unit icon is all the way over here. Classic deceptive tactics. Another rear echelon squad called in from the United States player who's just got to fucking repair these things 24/7. And the German player, wily German player, sweeping these mines, capping the left-hand side of the point. And I just really think the United States player could blitzkrieg and own some shit up. But until then, we have some sort of abortive assaults from the captain. What is... Oh, wow. What? That was a mistake. That was a bold move for the Osttruppen, but it ultimately ended in their untimely death. So I think if we're going to rank it on a scale from 1 to 10, it's pretty low. Oh look, it's a Panther. I should have been paying to the fuel. Jesus Christ almighty! Jumping Jehoshaphat. We have 370 fuel banked up by the Allies, 150 fuel banked up by the Germans, and the Germans fucking took it into his own hands. He said if the United States player is not gonna get some balls and do the attack, I'm gonna get some balls and do the attack. Panther actually almost, wow, that was a really unfortunate failure to penetrate on the front of that Pershing. Hopefully we're gonna get a Faust in on the Pershing. Also loses the Panzer IV, so this is looking awful. Retreats before Fausting even. This could be curtains for the Germans. That got, I think, literally nothing. Oh, jeez, it's the Puma. I was wondering why the Puma wasn't in the fight. I guess the answer is because it can't penetrate the Pershing. Because double bounces off the front. That was terrible. I think this might be the end. Oh, but I told you. I didn't actually. I've just been noting that the Stormtroopers have been doing a lot of damage. But the fucking Stormtroopers fucking pull it out. The clutch shot from Panzer Schrecks. And is effectively the reset button. But the Germans down to... Oh no, they lose an MG42. What a fucking assault. Imagine if the American player had done that assault. But before the Panther came out, which was like 20 minutes, the American player had to do that. That would have been fucking amazing. The American player totally could have made that work, because you see how the German player didn't make it work, but did get the Pershing out of it. Just think of how it would have worked had the balance of power been where it was for so long. But American player also, again, no need to be so... I guess saving for a second Pershing was the plan, but even there's no need to float that much fuel. I don't know why we didn't just see a Sherman out from the... I don't know why I clicked on the German player. I don't know why we didn't just see a Sherman out from the Americans then the final push to win the game. I think the Americans really could have took this. I understand being cautious. Like, being cautious is important. You don't want to lose your tanks in a balls-to-the-wall assault like the Germans did, although it, I don't know, kind of paid out a little bit. Panther plus Panzer IV plus Puma is not a good price to pay, especially because he also lost MG42 and a little other stuff. But sometimes you got to throw caution to the wind if you want to win. The German player had the right idea. United States player might end up winning simply because he had more shit in the first place, but yeah, so maybe the lesson of this game is turning out to be that, but also the having more shit in the first place. That early Pershing, not early, but that Pershing was just giving the United States player so many options that the United States player didn't use, but still okay. Certainly allowed the United States player to bank all this fuel. That was probably a mortar hit, wasn't it? I think so, up to 20 kills, that's nice. But I think the reason the United States player been able to bank so much fuel is just in virtue of that Pershing keeping the Germans from doing any sort of blitzkrieg assault like that and taking control of too much of the map. But again, such an even game in terms of map control because of wily play from both players. Some people have suggested I do casts drunk. Apparently I'm funny when I'm drunk, so I'll keep that under consideration. I certainly always have vodka on hand. I use it to make pie crusts, so I can always drink that to get drunk. I also always have wine on hand to cook with, but I don't really want to open a bottle of wine just to shoutcast a Company Heroes 2 match. It's kind of a waste of wine. So anyways, we have another Panther. How's this going to happen? I don't know, because we can just call in a Pershing in 250 manpower. Ballsy, ballsy, ballsy. So these mines have been sweeped. And there's also, oh, that was a nice AT gun and a nice final parting shot from the M36. And the United States player maybe smells blood, is potentially bringing an AT gun forward. This could be really bad for the Germans if they don't get this machine gun established, but it looks like we're not going to see the aggression necessary from the United States to make this assault happen. Potentially busy over here with some shit. This was, do we have any artillery can call in? No, the Major's already retreating. The Major artillery right here could have been what the United States player needed. Would have kept the MG42 unpacked long enough to, or packed up long enough, I suppose. It's unpacked when it's on the ground, I guess. Would have kept the MG42 packed up long enough for the rifleman to move in, but he just didn't quite have infantry superiority. Too many of his riflemen are back here, or over here, or over here, or something. So that I can maybe understand as a aggression not exceeded to from the United States player. I like these Vet 3 Ostruppen. Why do they get a Vet 3? Survivability and weapon. Let's see, what do you get? Weapon accuracy. Great. So they're pretty accurate now. That's really exciting, guys. Are you fucking going nuts over how accurate these Ostruppen are? Man, when you have 6 people in a squad, the little things on the ground that show you where they're gonna clump up really emphasize how many people you got. I miss the days of 6-man rifle squads. You guys miss that? I feel like my phone just buzzed. I have an email from a Kickstarter campaign. It's for a cookbook. I would tell you about it, but I think the cookbook is ending like in a couple days, so it won't matter by the time I post this thing. Ostruppen. Those poor accurate Ostruppen almost gave their lives. But they didn't, so it's a happy ending for everybody, except the Jews. How are we doing? Man, what a nail-biter of a game that I feel like could have been a bit more one-sided if the United States player had used the first Pershing to full effect. Is the United States player going to use the second Pershing to full effect, or just try and bleed the German VPs down? So far it looks like it's being used to full effect. The fucking stormtroopers are the bane of every Pershing's existence, it seems like, because they're here already. It just seems like every time the Pershing wants to do something, the United States player, I suspect, is getting psyched out by those fucking stormtroopers. Every time he tries to do something impressive with the Pershing, here's some exciting smoke. Every time he tries to do something exciting with the Pershing, there's fucking stormtroopers there. Oh, an excellent, again, parting shot. This Jackson is the master of the fadeaway. That's what they call it, right? You like sort of you throw the basketball and then you like float away or die of a heart attack or something is how it works. M36 is a master of that because that took out the Panther, and I think that's the end for the Germans. It's gonna be tough to come back into this unless the United States, yep, and they call it Kidrum The German player has lost. And I have lost my voice. Have I? I don't know. It feels like it. But that was fun. Lesson here, even if you don't man up with your Pershing, you can still win. Because you just keep your opponent from pushing all the way across the river, the Rubicon, and you'll eventually accumulate enough shit that you can replace all your losses and it kind of doesn't matter, and playing passively can sometimes pay off. So you don't always have to win by selecting all your units and right-clicking on the enemy, but sometimes you can.